Hello guys, it's me Troy, and I'm here with another video. Of course, because you just clicked on it, okay? Listen, first I want to say thanks to everybody. Is this camera angle is okay? It's like it's falling down. But first I want to say thanks to everybody who recently commented, liked, and subscribed. Thank y'all so much for supporting me and coming along this journey with me. I always say that. So, in this video, I'm going to share the book. This is March Mystery Madness. So, I'm going to share the book that I chose for borrowed. I went to my library and picked out this book. Now, I picked out this book for a reason. Well, the angle that I wanted to have for borrowed was to read a Japanese author, an investigator of some sort who resides in Japan, and etc., etc. Why I chose to do that is because last year I decided to completely cancel my reading of Sujata Macy, or was it Mossy, whatever. Child, I ain't got time. But anyway, I decided to cancel reading her series, the Rei Shimura series, because it already was a stretch between me reading the book that I read last year, which was The Bride's Kimono, and I think that was book number 5 or 6 in the series, and that from the previous. But the point that I want to get to is that I canceled that series. I'm no longer, it's so rare to me, I'm not reading that series any longer. I am so over the character Rei Shimura. She's a half white, half Japanese character who resides in Tokyo. She's an antiques dealer, and as a mystery series, most of her little, shenanigans and riffraffs and things of that nature revolves around the antiques world. Okay, we'll keep it there. But the point was that she is just a dumb character. Sorry, just keeping it 100. She just was. I mean, girl, listen, she was a dumb character, sorry to say, very illogical in her thinking and her processing. And what really was the last straw on the camel's back after reading up to 6 books in that series was the fact that in that last book, she decided to cheat on her boyfriend with her ex-boyfriend, which was an American guy who treated her like crap up to the point where she got into the relationship with her boyfriend at the time. Something like that. Well, the point is that she cheated, and I was like, I'm not here for this. I didn't pick up this book to go through this kind of drama with this character. So no shade. I know people be like, you're being too harsh on Bush. You can't say it like this. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm just talking about the character, okay? I mean, it just is what it is. And nonetheless, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I absolutely love Korean dramas. And of course, that applies to J-dramas or Japanese dramas as well. The only thing is that it's kind of difficult, from what I understand, to get J-dramas because, licensing, because, it just is what it is. But the point is that for the ones that I did watch, I very much enjoyed, and a lot of the ones that I did manage to watch, they all revolve around the mystery field, the mystery genre. And there was a series that I watched called, I think it was called Galileo X, where it was about a young professional female homicide detective sought the intelligence of a physicist, a professor, a mathematician named he's nicknamed Galileo. But anyway, the thing about the Japanese mystery genres, or speaking specifically with the J-dramas, is that their mystery stories theme themselves a lot around physics and mathematics and things like that. So when I discovered Galileo, I finished watching and I was like, well, you know what, let me look this up. So of course, you know how we go to our keyboard once we get into something, and then I discovered that the series was actually based off a series of books written by a Japanese author. Now, unfortunately, while there are, I believe, 5 books within this series, right now, currently, there are only 2 translated into English, and that's when I picked up the first book that's available to us, The Devotion of Suspect X, and the author's name is Keigo Higashino. But what I'm going to do is just read a little bit of the synopsis here and let you guys know what this book is about. So, Yasuko Hanaoko, a divorced single mother, thought she had finally escaped her abusive ex-husband. But when he shows up one day, threatening both her and her teenage daughter, Misato, the situation quickly escalates and he ends up dead on her apartment floor. And like I said, he shouldn't have been over there. You shouldn't have been over there. Trying to fight these ladies. Anyway, without hesitation, her neighbor, Ishigami, a brilliant math teacher whose devotion to Yasuko runs deep, offers to calculate the perfect alibi. His one condition is that the 2 women must follow his instructions to the letter. Detective Kusanagi of the Tokyo police, faced with a brutal murder and evidence that doesn't add up, seeks the advice of his college friend, Dr. Manabu Yukawa, a brilliant physicist nicknamed Detective Galileo. Yukawa knows the math genius from his past, which he's talking about the Ishigami, that helped the ladies commit the murder, or, form the alibi. And what ensues is a fierce battle of wits, one mastermind against another, one using all his skill and wits to uncover the truth, the other risking everything, providing depth to his devotion. Okay, so I'm gonna make this quick because I don't wanna make these long. I know people be liking all these long critical thinking videos and all this stuff. Child, I don't got time for all that. Like, I just want to get to the point. So here is my gut reaction, my gut feeling to this book. This is an open mystery. So we see everything as well, no we don't. That's my problem with this book. But this is an open mystery. So when it comes to open mysteries, you know who the killers are. You know the author gives you the actual scene of murder. It then becomes a story of who can outwit the other. It becomes a cat and mouse tale of the good guys versus the bad guys, who can beat each other at this game. So you know who the victim is, you know who the killer is, you know everything. Now, the problem that I had with this book, in which it really read, it became dry. It became crumbly and dry for me, was the fact that, yes, we have all the information, but all of the most important and very, I guess you would say, necessarily suspenseful points of the case and the alibi and the things of that nature that were being built were all happening off stage. Not only that, I felt like the author was building and plugging in the plot as he went along. But first, my thoughts on how everything went off stage. An example is that, Yusako and her daughter Misato, they use what you would call a kotasan. Of the cord of one and I'll put a picture somewhere of a kotasan, but they use the cord of that to strangle the ex-husband. That's giving it away, but it happened early on in the novel. And so when we switch point of views to that of the detectives who start to contemplate and start to think that maybe that could be the intended murder weapon, when they do go to ask about it, when they do go to, gather evidence as it revolves around their kotasan, they realize that, there isn't anything, they can't get anything. But what my problem is that the guy, Shigami, who set up the alibi, off stage, he replaced the kotasan. The reader did not see him come to a point where he decided that was necessary to formulate their alibi, to get them, the police off of their track. It was like at each point when these two forces of the good guys and the bad guys came together to butt heads over a piece of evidence, all of the rearranging of the evidence, it all took place off stage. And on the flip side, all of the detectives did a lot of their interviewing of possible suspects and people who could break down that alibi, like one of Misato, which was the teenage daughter, one of her friends. All of that took place off stage as well. And one of the things that I love about mystery is that it's about gathering evidence, building a wall, and then pushing the wall over the killer, over the perpetrator. But that wall is not going to be sturdy for the reader if we are not present within the gathering of that evidence, or the gathering of that building of an alibi. So it felt like they was putting these bricks together to formulate this wall, but hell, the wall didn't have any cement to cement the bricks. Really strange analogy, but that was just my major problem. It was just a really tightly plotted novel, which, when it comes to like the open mystery, that's kind of what you expect. But as I said, the author was plugging the stuff it read like he was plugging the stuff as he went along. So it read like, okay, well, this character has already went this high, then this character on the other side has already went this high. A lot of it happening off stage. But that's it. The Devotion of Suspect X, maybe 3 stars. I mean, that irritation that I had is what really just kind of took the air out of the book for me. Like, we, the reader, even though it is an open mystery, it's best if we went along with the investigation process and the construction of the alibi at the same time. We need to be able to see all of this stuff in action, and instead of just kind of feel like, well, here, throw it here, throw it here, throw it here. And anyway, that is all. That is what I read for Borrowed, and we're moving on to New now.